Hi folks, how you going? Welcome back to The Lawyers Next Door. I'm Carolyn Ryder, a family lawyer here in Queensland, and today we're talking about bird nesting. That's a co-parenting arrangement that some separating couples use to make the transition easier for their kids. It sounds like a dream solution, but does it actually work? Let's dive in. So what is bird nesting? It's when the children stay in the family home and instead of them moving between two different houses, the parents take turns living in the home with them. The idea is to minimize disruption for the kids. They have the same bedrooms, the same routines, and the same school run. The parents rotate in and out, often staying in a separate rental or with family when it's not their turn in the nest. It sounds simple, right? But in reality, it requires some serious planning, clear communication, and a whole lot of emotional intelligence to make it work. So how do people make it work? The key to successful bird nesting is setting clear expectations up front. And here's how some couples commonly structure it. Number one, they have a set schedule. Parents need a clear roster, whether it's week on or week off or a few days at a time. This prevents miscommunication and last minute surprises. Number two, separate living arrangements. When a parent isn't on duty in the family home, they need somewhere else to go. This might be a shared rental property or separate spaces entirely. Number three, they have ground rules for the home. Who's responsible for groceries and cleaning, household bills? What's the rule about having new partners over? Agreeing on these things up front can prevent major conflict down the track. Number four, financial planning. The cost of maintaining two residences can add up. Some parents continue to share finances for the household expenses, while others set up separate contributions. Let's talk about some tips for effective communication, because without it, bird nesting can turn into a nightmare. So here are my top tips today. Number one, keep it businesslike. Think of it as a parenting arrangement, not an emotional extension of your relationship. Treat interactions like you would a business partnership, polite, professional, and focused on the practicalities. Number two, use a shared calendar or app. Co-parenting apps like Our Family Wizard or even a simple Google Calendar can help keep track of schedules, bills, and important dates. Tip number three, have a regular check-in. A quick weekly or fortnightly check-in, whether by email or in person, helps to iron out any issues before they become big problems. And tip four is respect boundaries. Just because you're still sharing a home, that doesn't mean you're still in each other's lives in the same way. Respect each other's privacy and personal time. Let's talk about some behaviours to avoid. Bird nesting can be a fantastic solution, but there are some definite pitfalls to avoid. For example, blurring the lines. If one or both of you see this as a trial separation, it can create confusion and make it harder to move on emotionally. Having a lack of clear rules. Without agreements in place, resentment can build. Imagine one parent constantly leaving dishes in the sink or refusing to contribute to bills. It just won't work. Another one is using the home as a battleground. The home should be a stable environment for the kids, not a place for arguments or passive-aggressive note leaving. Another one is introducing new partners too soon. This can create tension and confusion for the children. It's best to agree on boundaries around new relationships from the outset. Here's some final thoughts today and some legal considerations for you. We at Ryder Lawyers think that bird nesting can be a short-term solution to help children adjust, but it's rarely a permanent fix. Most families will use it as a transitional arrangement while they figure out long-term co-parenting plans. And of course, it's always a good idea to seek legal advice before committing to any arrangement, especially when it comes to financial agreements and parenting orders. So is bird nesting right for you? That's something only that you and your ex-partner can decide. But if you do it right, it can be a great way to keep things stable for your children while you work through the next steps. That's all today on our episode today of Lawyers Next Door. If you found this helpful, make sure to follow along on Instagram, our YouTube, or TikTok. And as always, if you need legal advice, reach out to a family lawyer who can guide you through your options. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.